my God!
I heard he's hung like a horse, Blue. Are you hating on Beyonce? Did she really have him locked down?
I think so. I think they're in love.
See, Jay-Z he's a nice size, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Part of his appeal is his size too.
Yes, his height.
Yeah.
My dad's height is around that height, so.
Oh, so your father was a shorter man in the NBA?
No, he's 6'4". My dad was 6'4".
That's short for the NBA, though.
That's a Blu Cantrell, but yeah, no, he was dating Blue.
Wow,
He had another
surely
woman
was,
that was
and they were
pregnant that was about to come out with her pregnancy around
Was
the
she
same
from
time.
the islands?
Something like that. And that's where he met Rihanna. Robin Fenty is in Barbados. So I know he spends a lot of time out there. And what I do know, and I don't even have to say allegedly, is that he has a trap house in Dallas, Texas, that him and Diddy are funding, and they have minors, male and female, working in there. And I'll say it into the camera, and it's not allegedly. Y'all need to go see about Dallas. And they got Yellow Beezy running it. That's on me, baby.
Oh,
they got minor women and boys. Or I would say women, teenage girls and boys.
I'll tell you that much. I don't have a crush on no. No, I didn't. No, I'm really selective about it.
What?
Really, I really like him though, and I don't care who he's dating. I always had a crush on him though.
If he came in right.
You're not going to believe what Blu Cantrell never told the world about Jay-Z. And once you hear it, you might never look at either of them the same way again. This isn't just some old rumor or recycled gossip. It's the kind of bombshell that flips everything upside down. There's talk about a secret relationship, a hidden pregnancy, and a silence that wasn't her choice at all. But now that silence is officially broken. And wait till you hear what she claims went down behind closed doors. It's giving cover-ups. It's giving betrayal. And it might even change how you see the whole Carter empire. So don't forget to stay locked in.
At the D'Agostino.
No, but there's some of them, the ones that are big, are the ones that really got it. I'm telling you, they just got something about them. Just like, wow.
Big in stature.
Just something about them.
The average height of artists, these performers, and I hate it.
Stewart and Red Zone, and he came in. He saw me. He was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." I was sitting on the couch in the studio, and he started playing the song. And he heard maybe not even like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And was like, "Wait, rewind."
I want you to think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened.
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. Some people are even saying that Blue Ivy, the child we've all known as Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter, might not be Beyonce's biological child at all.
Even though we saw Beyonce's bump publicly, there's a video of Beyonce sitting down for an interview and her whole stomach just deflates in the video. And it's very weird.
This is crazy.
If you listen to Daughter, the song completely illustrates. The lyrics in the song say, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures. Bathroom attendant let me right in. She was a big fan. I tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do." So fans are speculating that Beyonce had Kathy White after Kathy White had the baby and claimed the baby as her own, and that baby is Blue Ivy.
Yeah, that's the theory. This whole thing is one of the messiest and most controversial stories in music history. And trust me, once we're done here, you might not ever hear the name Blue the same way again.
If he came in right now and we were all not here. What? I'm just saying, you're in New York.
Yeah, okay, and what?
If you ran into him and everything was right, would you make that play?
I wouldn't turn it down. Let's just put it that way. Okay. But
All right, hold on to your edges because Blu Cantrell is out here dropping truth bombs left and right. For years, people whispered about her and Jay-Z. But now, she's spilling everything, and it's way more intense than anyone expected. Blu says they had a secret fling that started during those exclusive behind-the-scenes industry parties. Yeah, the so-called freak-offs. And then comes the bombshell. She claims she got pregnant. But what really set this off? Blu says it was Beyonce who stepped in and made sure that the pregnancy didn't continue. Let that sink in. Was Beyonce just being territorial? Was it damage control? Or was she trying to protect the Carter brand before it ever fully launched? Whatever the reason, Blu says what went down was messy, calculated, and honestly disturbing. She's pulling back the curtain on a side of the Carters the public never saw coming. And just when you think that's it, there's more. Rewind a bit. Remember when Jay-Z and Diddy were super close? Like partners in crime close? But when Diddy started catching legal heat, Jay-Z dipped. He switched lanes fast, like he didn't even know the man. Some thought Jay was disgusted by the accusations, but that theory faded fast. People started saying Jay was just trying to keep his own skeletons locked away. And for a while, he pulled it off. He even dodged a civil lawsuit from attorney Tony Busby. It looked like he was home free, but then Blu came back into the picture, and now it's unraveling. She says this isn't just about Jay-Z. Beyonce's involved too. According to Blu, they had a past, and it wasn't just music industry stuff. She says she and Jay had a little something something, and they were both showing up at those wild parties together. So the big question is, how did all this even start? How did Blu and Jay-Z get involved in the first place? That's where things really start to get deep and dark. So let's rewind the tape and take it all the way back to the 90s. That's where this whole thing between Blu Cantrell and Jay-Z really started heating up. Back then, Blu was still working her way up, singing backup for big names like Diddy. But it wasn't long before the industry started noticing her. Executives could see the potential dripping off her, and one of them was L.A. Reid, and he decided to make a move. He signed her to Arista Records, convinced she was about to be the next big thing. And honestly, it looked like he was right. In 2001, Blu dropped her debut album, So Blue, and the numbers were crazy. The album shot up to number 8 on the Billboard 200. She landed a couple of top 10 singles and even snagged 2 Grammy nominations. The project went gold in just 2 weeks. People were hyped. Everyone thought she was about to take the scene for real.
Until I was 18. And I left home probably around 17 and went to New York City to try to pursue it. I had a lot of odd jobs. I did voiceovers, I did backgrounds, I sang at jazz clubs. I did background for P. Diddy, Bad Boy. I did a lot of things, to try to get to where I wanted to be. I'd been in studios several times. I think I was a demo singer, and they used to usually pay you standard $500 a session. And it was so funny because when I got my deal and had done a showcase, the same person, like $500 for a session, ended up being in the studio while I was there with the president of the label. And I said, I remember.
But behind all that music industry buzz, something else was going on. Blu and Jay-Z had started getting pretty close. Close enough that people began whispering. Was something romantic happening behind the scenes? That's what folks were starting to wonder. At the same time, though, Jay-Z was also chasing after Beyonce. So why was he still hanging around Blu if he was trying to lock down Bey? Well, here's the thing. Word on the street was that Jay-Z was keeping his options open. He had already taken a hit emotionally when things didn't work out with Aaliyah, so he wasn't trying to dive all in and get burned again. He was playing it safe, just in case Beyonce didn't work out. Real messy energy.
Stewart and Red Zone, and he came in, he saw me, he was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was sitting on the couch in the studio, and he started playing the song. And he heard maybe not even like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and was like, wait, put the song back on again. That's you? I was like, yeah, that's me. Okay. And he was like, oh my God. He was just sitting there just totally into the song. Yeah. And I was like, okay, he likes it.
Fast forward to 2003, and now, Blu and Beyonce both had albums dropping around the same time. Blu released her second album, and Beyonce launched her solo debut, Dangerously in Love. And you already know how the industry works. 2 big-name women dropping music at the same time, both connected to the same man, people started comparing everything. And just like that, it turned into a whole situation. What started out as music chatter quickly morphed into drama. Fans and blogs were talking about some kind of secret rivalry, and the tension only grew because both Blu and Beyonce were being linked to Jay-Z. Blu kept telling people there was nothing romantic going on, that she and Jay were just friends and collaborators. But no one really bought that. With Beyonce in the picture and all the timing looking way too perfect, it felt like Blu was trying to dodge the heat of a love triangle. Then came the moment that really sent rumors flying, Blu's interview with Wendy Williams. And if you know Wendy, you know she never holds back. She's bold, messy, and always asks the stuff other hosts are too scared to touch. That's why people tune in. So what did Wendy do? She went straight in and asked Blu point blank if she ever kissed Jay-Z or had something romantic going on with him. That was Blu's chance to shut it all down, put the rumors to rest once and for all. But instead, she laughed. She got nervous. She played coy and even said she couldn't answer the question. She even touched her neck like she was trying to play it off, but it just made things worse. People weren't convinced. If anything, it only added more fuel to the fire. Wendy didn't hold back either. She made it clear that folks weren't going to let go of the Blu and Jay-Z talk anytime soon. She basically said, "Look at this. This is why people still think something went down between y'all." That moment was iconic, and she was right. Blu could have just said no and moved on, but instead, her reaction made everyone talk louder than before.
Tell you that much. No.
Yes,
No, I didn't. No, I'm really selective about it.
What?
Really. I really like him though. And I don't care who he's dating. I always had a crush on him though.
If he came in right now and we were all not here.
What?
I'm just saying, you're in New York.
Yeah, okay. And what
If you ran into him and everything was right, would you make that play?
I wouldn't turn it down. Let's just put it that way. Okay. But
Wendy wasn't done poking the bear. During their conversation, she casually threw out the idea that maybe Jay-Z went after Beyonce simply because she was younger. Instead of dodging the topic or playing it safe, Blu jumped right in. She said it had nothing to do with age. What it really came down to, according to her, was that Jay-Z wanted someone easier to control. Blu claimed Jay specifically went for Beyonce because she was more naive, less experienced, and easier to influence. Blu even mentioned something she once said on the radio. She told people she didn't think her and Jay-Z would have lasted anyway because, in her words, she was over 25. And she believed that Jay didn't want a grown woman. He wanted someone young, someone less savvy, someone who didn't know the game yet. That's the kind of woman she believed he was looking for. Now, when Blu first said all of this, a lot of people thought she was just being shady towards Beyonce. It sounded bitter, like a dig. But when you look at it now, with everything she later revealed, it actually sounds like she might have been talking about herself too. Back then, Blu was pretty green to the dark side of the industry, and some folks believed she was being taken advantage of without even realizing it until it was way too late. So maybe it wasn't shade at all. Maybe it was a warning wrapped in a confession. Still, regardless of intent, things between Blu and Beyonce were tense. The two women didn't get along, like at all. Over the years, Blu made it clear she wasn't about to stay quiet. She started calling Beyonce out, accusing her of jacking her style, stealing her visuals, and trying to pass them off as her own. The drama just kept getting louder. One of the first major shots fired when Beyonce and Jay-Z dropped their '03 Bonnie and Clyde music video. Blu was quick to claim it looked a little too similar to her own video for Roundup. And then came Baby Boy. You know, that iconic hit Beyonce did with Sean Paul? Well, Blu wasn't having that either. She said Beyonce had copied her again, pointing out that she had already released Breathe with Sean Paul before Baby Boy ever hit the charts. And then came the astrology shade. Fans caught on to a line in Beyonce's song Signs, and things got even messier. In the song, Beyonce sings about wishing someone was a Virgo, like her, because she had been hurt by a Pisces girl. And here's where it gets really interesting. Jay-Z is a Sagittarius, Beyonce is a Virgo, and Blu Cantrell, a Pisces. You don't need to be an astrologer to connect those dots. The internet ate that up. People were convinced Beyonce was throwing subtle lyrical shade, hinting that Blu had once been a threat. And with all that context, the shade didn't feel so subtle anymore. Now here's where the astrology girlies had a field day. Jay-Z is a Sagittarius, Beyonce a Virgo, and Blu Cantrell is a Pisces. You already know where this went. Fans started doing the math real quick. The lyrics, the timing, the energy, it all started to line up. People began to believe Beyonce might have been throwing some subtle shots in her song Signs, basically hinting that Jay-Z had cheated on her with someone who happened to be a Pisces. And when you realize Blu is a Pisces, yeah, the internet lost it. The way people jumped on that theory, it basically became fact in the eyes of some fans. That line had folks convinced Beyonce was low-key confirming the rumors all along without naming names. But if you think that was the peak of the drama, no, it gets messier. In an interview with The Guardian, Blu was straight up asked about Beyonce, and instead of cooling things down, her response just blew the whole situation wide open. She didn't hold back. Blu basically said she was a grown woman and that Beyonce being younger might have been acting immature if she really was trying to start anything. She said maybe Beyonce was doing it for publicity, but warned her that going down that road would be the wrong move. She said Beyonce needed to really think about what she was doing and what kind of storm she could be stepping into. And then she brought Jay-Z into it too. Blu said that if Beyonce had a problem, she should take it up with her man, not her. Blu made it clear she didn't think it was cool for women to come for each other when the real issue was the guy at the center of it all. And honestly, that hit a nerve. The whole vibe of that interview felt like the final warning, and for Blu, it pretty much was. Because after that, things seemed to fall apart fast. Despite all the hype from her earlier career, 2 successful albums, hit singles, Grammy nominations, Blu suddenly vanished from the music scene. No new albums, no singles, nothing. It was like she disappeared overnight, and fans couldn't help but feel like something bigger was happening behind the scenes. It wasn't just a fade out, it felt calculated, suspicious even. Out of nowhere in late 2013, Blu Cantrell popped back up. She said she was working on a 3rd album and had left her label calling herself a free agent. Fans were excited, but that album never came. And by 2014, things took a dark turn. Blu was found on the streets of Santa Monica in the middle of the night, screaming that someone had tried to end her life with poisonous gas. It was 2 a.m. She was panicked, and police took her in for a mental health evaluation. Headlines called it a breakdown, but her fans weren't so quick to buy that. People started connecting the dots, especially when they remembered what happened with Martin Lawrence. He also had a strange public breakdown, and no one ever really explained what went down. Suddenly, Blu's situation didn't look so random. It looked familiar. Some started wondering if it was more than just mental health, maybe something darker, maybe even planned. The timing, the silence, the sudden unraveling, it was all too perfect. People stopped calling it a coincidence. They started asking real questions. And just when things were getting weird, Jaguar Wright entered the chat. And when she talks, everyone listens.
In the same video, Jaguar addressed Blu Cantrell and encouraged her to speak out on what she experienced with Jay-Z.
Blu. The first Blu. Not they daughter Blu. Blu Cantrell. It was time to talk. Jay-Z worked very hard to erase you and me. Just like he did Elle. Just like he did his relationship with R. Kelly, just like he did his relationship with Aaliyah.
And another fan added, Blu Cantrell didn't have the spiritual power to withstand the wickedness of the Carter couple. But how do you feel about everything that happened with Blu Cantrell? Do you think Beyonce and Jay-Z really had something to do with her breakdown and disappearance?
Jaguar doesn't play. She's known for spilling tea raw and unfiltered. And when she spoke about Blu Cantrell, she didn't hold back. Jaguar reminded people that Blu came before Blue Ivy, and that she was the one with real talent and success. She said Blu probably had no idea how dark things would get when she got involved with the wrong person, someone powerful. According to Jaguar, Jay-Z worked hard to erase Blu, just like he allegedly erased her, and tried to bury ties with people like R. Kelly, Aaliyah, and maybe even Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She said it was time for Blu to speak out again because the girl still had the gift. And apparently that message landed. Not long after, Blu started telling her side. She said her fall from the spotlight wasn't random, it was revenge. Someone powerful had her dropped from her label as payback for getting too close to the truth. Even worse, Blu said her own lawyer ended up working with the people who were trying to destroy her. She called it a total betrayal, and said no one really knows what went on behind the scenes. But she sure does. She was used, then tossed. Then things took a seriously dark turn. An insider close to Blu said she started opening up about what happened in 2014. Blu claimed Beyonce found out she and Jay-Z had been involved, and that Jay had even gotten her pregnant during one of Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Blu believes Beyonce tried to get rid of her, literally, to keep that secret from ever getting out. And it didn't stop there. Blu said after that first attempt failed, what she described as poisoning, Beyonce allegedly pressured her to terminate the pregnancy. This wasn't just a suggestion. Blu said she faced threats and pressure that left her with no real choice. In her words, Beyonce was determined that only her kids would carry the Carter legacy, and she'd do whatever it took to make sure that stayed true. As wild as that sounds, Blu isn't the only woman whose career was allegedly derailed over Jay-Z. Tiara Marie went through something eerily similar. A blind item hit the internet and had people buzzing. The tea? Beyonce was allegedly working behind the scenes to make sure Tiara's career never took off. Tiara was young, rising fast, and had a buzz, but she was also reportedly getting close to Jay-Z. And once Beyonce found out, she shut it all down. The rumor says Beyonce didn't just break up the fling, she made sure Tiara's name disappeared. Word is she wanted to send a message. Anyone getting too close to her man would face real consequences. And it worked. Tiara went from being the next big thing to basically a ghost in the industry, just like that. Here's what insiders say really went down. Jay-Z signed Tiara, and at first everything seemed normal, until people noticed she wasn't even fully legal yet. That didn't stop him, though. Rumor is he was sampling the talent, and she was part of that. Meanwhile, Beyonce was right there in the picture, another major player. Tiara's manager at the time, who was beefing with Jay, they warned him to stay away from her, but apparently he didn't listen or didn't care. Then came the shutdown. Tiara got dropped. Word went out that no label should touch her. Anyone who tried, they got a visit. And if they didn't back off, things got even more serious. Her career locked down for nearly a decade. Just like that, she was gone. But that's not even the wildest part. Then there's Kathy White, another woman allegedly tied to Jay-Z. She was reportedly pregnant with his child, just like Blu. And right before she was supposedly going to speak out about the affair and the baby, she suddenly passed away out of nowhere.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album.
I love that one.
Well, it's potentially about Jay-Z's mistress, Kathy White.
What?
Yeah, buckle up. On August 28th, 2011, Beyonce announced her pregnancy at the MTV VMAs.
Iconic.
On January 7th, 2012, Blue Ivy was born into this world. In 2016, Beyonce dropped Lemonade. Now, as we all know, Lemonade was a true album about infidelity. Jay-Z was rumored to have a very long-time mistress. It was well known in the industry. People knew of Kathy White because of Jay-Z, okay? Yikes. So here's where it gets a little crazy. Kathy White was known to be pregnant in 2011. Shortly after giving birth, mysteriously in her apartment of a brain aneurysm.
I have a feeling this is related.
Okay.
And here's the chilling part. There have been whispers for years that it wasn't Jay-Z behind it, but Beyonce. Some say she was the one who made sure Kathy never got the chance to talk. And when you compare it to Blu's story, the pregnancy, the threats, the alleged harm, it really feels like Blu barely made it out alive. Honestly, it gives the whole situation a new level of creepy. It makes Blu's survival feel less like luck and more like a miracle. Let us know what you think. Drop us a comment down below. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. And follow us for more deep dives just like this one. Stay tuned.